Hello people, today I'm going to be doing a review for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. This is a sequel to the first 2018 film Venom, which I did not really care for that much. I thought Tom Hardy was great. I just thought the villain was very weak in that movie. I love Riz Ahmed, and he just really couldn't give a good enough performance to fix what was wrong with that character on paper. It takes about half the movie to get to Venom, and the movie does improve during the second half when it's strictly Venom and Eddie, and that's what the best part about these movies. And I will say I liked Venom Let There Be Carnage more. And do I like this movie? Overall, I would say I had a really fun time. I had a fun time, but I kind of know deep down the movie's kind of garbage. But I am going to give the movie props because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. And the thing is, there's some really stupid things in this movie. And I laughed out loud for both reasons, because I laughed out loud when the movie tries to be funny most of the time, and I laughed out loud because when the movie does some really stupid plot stuff, which I'm not going to get into. The third act of this movie, that's the big number one thing that I'm known for, I guess. How's the third act for a comic book movie? And this third act was interesting. It fell into a lot of tropes, and there's most of the cool shots throughout the whole movie, by the way, you see in the trailer. So don't get excited like, oh, that's holding back so much, because it isn't. You see most of the best action parts. What you don't see a lot of is, of course, the best parts of the movie, and that's Venom and Eddie. The cool thing about the Venom movies that I liked is that they've kind of hit the similar beats that the Raimi Spider-Man movies did. Not necessarily like every single beat, and this is nothing like Spider-Man 2. But what I'm saying is, like, it's kind of a spoiler, but there's a thing that happens. There's an event that happens in the movie, and and I just can't describe it, but it's kind of similar to what Spider-Man went through in Spider-Man 2. And of course, the first Venom movie, he gets in the lab and all that, and that's where he becomes Venom. So there's always like one big beat that I notice kind of hits it right, if that makes sense. But yeah, but I want to talk about that third act real quick. The third act was very different because it was not different. It was very cliche at moments, but the best way I could describe the third act of this movie was a Saturday morning cartoon with Joker and Harley Quinn. That's the best way I can describe it. You'll know it when I see it, but the third act felt very cartoonish. But I'll just leave it at that. But the action is better. I did not like the action in the first movie at all. I thought it was very undershot and underwhelming. And this movie, it still has some dark lit action sequences. And this movie, it still has that, but it's shot a little bit better. It's passable action. I don't vividly remember any cool action moment from this movie, but I know it was better than the first. It was passable enough action where I was like, not to the point where I was like, the action in here was bad, because I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't memorable either. And that's how I kind of feel about this movie. It's a really fun time while you're watching it, but it's not really very memorable. Everything goes by really fast, and it's really rushed. And that's the thing. The movie is so rushed to the point where I felt like it was so bare bones, you could have taken out whole things and made the movie shorter. So there was a lot of things added in this movie where I was like, okay, now tell me more about this so I can get invested. But I'm not going to get invested because the movie's too short. Because the movie adds a lot of characters. Two big ones in particular, they're not really showing that much in the trailer, so I'm not going to get into it. So, yeah, there's two added characters, and they add a good amount of runtime to this movie to build up the story. But at the end of the day, the movie is so trimmed down, you're like, so I really don't really feel the point of those characters that they just went out of their way to add. So I felt like they kind of needed to balance it out a little bit better. So what are you going to do? Add more characters and boost the runtime a little bit so we can get their full justification of being in the movie? or add your new characters and trimmed down the movie to bare bones, and I don't think they really executed that too well. How's Carnage? I'll just say this: if it Woody Harrelson is good in the movie. I like him as Carnage, and with the somewhat crappy script that he's given, he does his best. And I'll just say this: if it weren't labeled as Carnage, like the big Marvel villain, I just would have thought this was another symbiote. Like, it really just feels like Riot 2.0, but this time it's Carnage in red. That's how it felt to me. But like I said, I had my problems with this movie, but like I said, I won't be lying if I said I wasn't thoroughly entertained by it. I was laughing the whole time, whether, it was the movie's intention or not. I had a smile on my face. That after credit scene, it's what people are talking about. And of course, I'm not saying it's a selling point in the movie because it shouldn't be, but it's definitely something you should stay for. And overall, I just had a grin on my face the whole time where I knew the movie was going to be stupid. And so when I complain about these things, I knew it was, but I want to be nice to it because I did enjoy it. I really did. And so I'm going to give it like the score I would give a movie that I'm going to be nice to it. I'm going to give it a 6.2 out of 10. It's nothing spectacular, but I really don't want to get it to that 5 level because I did enjoy the movie. And of course, there are movies I do enjoy that, like F9, I give that a 5.5, but there's, I think the movie's a little too long with F9. So, yeah, that's my review for Venom Let There Be Carnage. It's kind of a strange review. It's kind of like, I don't know. Like, the movie was okay. It was just really okay to me. But if you like the first movie, I think you'll really like this. If you really dug the first Venom movie, you're going to like this one. So, yeah. Anyways, comment down below what you guys thought of Venom Let There Be Carnage. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you like the first movie? Did you hate the first movie? I don't know. So, yeah. Clearly, I enjoyed it, but as a film, it's a movie. So, yeah. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that, and adios.